Hello and welcome into the latest edition of the Fore-All Podcast. I'm Jesse Morrison alongside Max Bechtold. We have a tournament coming up this week outside of Cincinnati, but first we're going to start with some college golf news. We usually don't start with college golf news, but we're going to talk about it here because it's a pretty big deal. Stanford, one of the women's golf powers in college, has picked up a recruit in one of the top amateurs in the world, Asterisk Talley. Max, what do you think about this?
This news came as a total shock to me today. I think a lot of people assumed that Asterisk Talley was going to skip playing college golf and go directly to, the Epson Tour and then hopefully the LPGA Tour pretty quickly after that. It's seen as like one of the prime figures of the future of American women's golf, certainly. Just a player with an unreal resume. She makes headlines every time she plays because of her age. Still, she's only 16, so it'll be a couple years till she even plays in college. I mean, we might be looking at maybe 4 or 5 years at the least until she turns professional. So this kind of came as a shock to me, but obviously a huge pickup for Stanford, who seems like they're just not going to miss a beat. They've got some really good recruits in the pipeline coming up. So the era of Stanford dominance is definitely not over with this commitment.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I mean, the way you've hyped her up, and I was like, really? She's going to college? That's kind of surprising. But, maybe education's something that she values or her family values. But I mean, it's also just a verbal commitment, correct?
Yes.
So she could just go back on that and go pro anyway, and or maybe Stanford's NIL is just really good for women's
I,
golf. So
I mean, and we're seeing right now, Mega Gane, who we've talked about in here before, the winner of the U.S. Women's Amateur this year from Stanford. She's on a commercial right now with Nelly Korda, Ernie Els, and Ricky Fowler. So there is money to be made playing college golf, especially if you're a star. And I anticipate with just how good Tally is that she will continue to kind of become more of a little bit of a household name in golf circles, and so she will get those opportunities in the next 2 or 3 years. Think about like what Rose Zhang might have been like when she was in college, and how many
mhm.
commercials and nil deals she might have had. That's why I think you're going to be looking at with Asterisk Talley. I think she's going to be the biggest, most hyped person to enter women's college golf since Rose, which obviously wasn't that long ago, but it's still a big deal. And I think we'll see kind of a similar level of hype behind her. And I think that the nil era will just increase that even more.
I guess my last question before we move on to the tournament this week uh, is do you think she's going to actually stick with this?
I do. My gut would say yes. I mean, Rose has shown, and obviously we talk about Rose all the time. Is she living up to it? Is her, play been consistent with what we expected out of her? She still does have 2 wins by the age of 22 years old. So it doesn't set you behind too much. I'll be interested to see if Tally possibly does a Rose Zhang style thing and plays college golf for a year or two, continues her studies at Stanford, and plays professional golf as well. We saw Lucy Lee do that at Penn as well. I'll be interested to see if we get one of those situations. But it is a little bit surprising, especially seeing Yana Wilson's success on the Epson Tour this year. Player who I think is in a little bit of a similar situation, hyped up from a pretty young age. And, she decided to forego college, and she's going to be on the LPGA Tour at age 19. That's got to be very appealing for someone like Asterisk Tally. So I do think she'll stick with it, but it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next 2 years.
Yeah, college changed a lot for me personally as far as just like my views on things, and
Absolutely.
so I think it's a valuable to go to college. However, I don't know if I would have I if there was an option that like I could make a ton of money without going. So
Yeah, I mean, the example that I always use is just like, Leona Maguire. It's possible that you could argue that she used up her best years playing college golf. She was a dominant amateur. She's come to the LPGA Tour, been a productive player, has a few wins, but I think that if you went back and had Leona Maguire enter the pros at age 18, I think we might be seeing a different career. So I think there's pros and cons to it, but I'm not going to question somebody's decision when it comes to getting that education, especially from a place like Stanford. It'll just be interesting to see what happens because I do think she could be a productive professional at 18 years old.
All right, let's move on to the tournament this weekend coming up September 11th through 14th in Hamilton Township, Ohio, which is outside of Cincinnati. It's the Kroger Queen City Championship presented by P&G, a very Epson Tour style name here
Yes.
with like the double sponsors going on. But hey, more sponsors is a good thing. Pretty good field pretty good field from what I can see. I mean, you got Nelly Corda, you got Lydia Ko. Lydia Ko, the defending champion of this one, Gino Titakun, world number one. Um, Jin Young Ko, a lot of good
Anna
players.
Green, yeah, it's pretty stacked full
Rose
field.
Zhang, we mentioned her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty good field. There's not really many big time players that are sitting this one out. Um, So, just first off, what are your thoughts on this tournament and the course, and what's your excitement level going into this weekend?
It's pretty high. I think this is this is a very young tournament. I think this is only the fourth year it's being played, and I think it's really impressive what they've done here. First year or two, they didn't have a great field, but over the last couple of years, they've had stacked field. And when you look at last year's leaderboard to end it, I mean, you had some huge big time names in it. You had Lydia first, Gino second, Hayrine you third, Sasso fourth, and Nelly tied for fifth. Like you had some huge names in. So I think it's really impressive. Like we're kind of in that midpoint of the season where could get a little sleepy, could get a little, maybe not the best fields every week. Right before, it goes over to the Asian swing. Next week in Arkansas is not usually one of the better fields on tour. So you would kind of just the instinct I think would be to lump this tournament in with the others. But yeah, they've got a great star-studded field. It's really one of the last chances to earn CME points. So it's going to be like a big bubble watching those players who are on the bubble of making the CME. So I think it's pretty exciting. And when you talk about the course, one thing that you need to do here is score because scores have been low for the winners. Lydia Ko shot 23 under last year when she won. The year before, Minji Lee beat Charlie Hull in a playoff. They shot 16 under. And the year before, when Ali Ewing won, it was 22 under, and 21 under was second place. So you have to score pretty low here. It's going to be one of the lower scoring events of the year. And this field should kind of feast on this course, I think.
And you mentioned the bubble players uh, for the CME. Who do you kind of see stepping up and sliding into those spots? Maybe at this tournament.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Asian events don't really count for CME points, so it's really getting tight. Lopez Ramirez, a player that we've talked about a lot, it would be a huge thing if she could get up into that top 60. Looking at Lilia Vu, who, despite having really a dreadful season all year, still ranked number 64 in the CME standings, top 60 go. So she has a big chance to make a big move this week. Lucy Lee, who we mentioned, Gabby Ruffles, who had a great rookie year. I wrote Rose Zhang, who's at 73. Like, there's some pretty big stars who are kind of in danger of missing the CME standings. And so I'm looking for those players to really step up. Lilia Vu, in particular, just has kind of had a nightmare of a season health wise. The play hasn't been great outside of the tournament in Arizona, which is really kind of boosting her up right now. So I'd like to see her play well, get into that top 60 and kind of get that momentum back.
All right, who do you think is going to win this tournament?
I really like Gino Titakun this week. I know it's just such a cop out to pick the number one player in the world,
I mean,
but
we have seen her collapse though. Like we have
yeah,
seen her not be able to close out wins. So I actually think it's a bit of a surprise to me that you're picking her.
well, she's finished top 10 twice at this event, finished second last year. Clear that she's comfortable here on this course. And I think after the disappointment of the last event, where she really kind of was making a run at it and fell off late, I think she closes the job this week, becomes our first two-time winner on tour in 2025.
I think for me personally, the Japanese dominance this year has been really impressive. And I'm going to stick with it. I think that Rio Takeda becomes our first two-time winner. I'm going to go with the rookie as the first two-time winner on uh, tour this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do. And then I would also I'm going to say Rose Zhang as a sleeper just because she's fighting to get into that top 60. So I wouldn't be surprised if she wins, but I'm going to go with Rio Takeda.
Nice. I like it. I think I look, Rio gets herself into comp or into contention every week. So it's a good pick, and I could definitely see it going down that way. I also don't mind Lynn Grant in this event either. We've seen a lot of Swedish
Here
winners
we
this year.
go.
We've seen a lot of Swedish winners this year. She's as usual. She's been a little up and down on this course, but she has fired some really, really low scores. She was on 59 watch on this course a couple years ago. So watch out. If she knows this course well, plays this course well, I could see Lynn Grant becoming yet another Swedish winner on tour.
You see, I would love to pick her as, we both went to Arizona State. She went to Arizona State. So that'd be great. But she's a player that's going to go out there and shoot like a 60 and then have an 80 the next day. So
I
I'm not,
mean, hey,
I'm
if
not,
she can get a few good rounds in there, I think she stands a really good chance.
yeah, I'm just, she's on my list of like not going to pick moving forward, which includes Nelly Corda. Like, I guess we should bring that up too. I mean, like, I feel like this is a broken record topic for us, but how big of a week is this for her?
I think Nelly Corda will play three really good rounds, one really great in the beginning of the week, shoot 75 in the other one, and finish tied for ninth. That's my personal prediction because that's how every single week of this season has gone. It must be. I can't imagine how frustrated Nelly Corda is with her season. Just frankly, like she's playing good golf. Her stats point to she should be having a Player of the Year style season, and it's just not happening. One bad round and mediocre putting has completely torn her down, and it's got to be just so frustrating for her and for her team. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I think after the season, she needs to just like take 2 weeks completely off of golf and then, go somewhere fun, not even think about it. And then she needs to, come back and just like seriously grind on like fixing what went wrong this year because she's too good of a player to have this rough of a season. Um, but who knows? There's still time left. Like she could just figure it out down the stretch and win two or
Yeah.
three times.
I
And
mean, I don't know. I don't know if she's going to play in Asia, frankly. My gut instinct would be to say no, but there is the international crown that is going to pull players to South Korea. So maybe she does play in a couple Asian swing events as well, which we don't really see her do anymore. So maybe she has a few more opportunities than we thought. And, she's still in contention to get that Bear trophy, one that she's been in contention for the last few years, but has been disqualified for not playing enough rounds. So I wonder if she's going to chase after that. It comes with a little bit of cash. It comes with a Hall of Fame point. So I'll see if she wants to kind of chase that a little bit as well.
all right, where can you find this event this week?
It's got Golf Channel. It's got good hours every day. Going to be a little bit earlier in the morning at times, but it's got 3 hours of coverage each day on Golf Channel. Obviously, there's been some crazy mix ups with the coverage the last couple of weeks that have been unpredictable, but for right now that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it looks good on from what the website's showing. It says it's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's Mountain Standard Time. Eastern Time, it would be 3 hours ahead of that. So
Yes.
1 to 4. And then on Friday, it would be 1 to 4 Mountain Time. So that would be 4 to 7. I think that's solid. Like I can put that on like while as my right next to football because I'll be watching football at 10 a.m. So that should be that's a great time and
Mm-hmm.
for me personally. All right, what's on the site this week? What is going to be on the site? I know you're in a very remote, desolate area right now, so I don't know how much is going to be up there, but if you could just share with people what is going to be up there.
Yeah, I've pre-written some previews for the week, so there will be previews and a little bit more of an in-depth how to watch going up throughout the beginning part of this week. Once we get to Thursday and Friday, it might be a little bit iffy. I am going to be staying at a hotel that very explicitly says no Wi-Fi. So I don't know if I'm, and there's no TVs in the rooms either. There's nothing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch any of the first couple rounds. I don't know if I'm going to be able to write about any of the first couple rounds. But starting Saturday, I'll be back in a place with Wi-Fi, with TVs. So there will be coverage over the weekend. So you might have to bear with us a little bit. I should be able to get a second round, recap up on Saturday morning, but we'll see how it goes. So just be flexible with the coverage.
All right, and make sure to subscribe to the newsletter
Yes.
as well. And if you need to reach Max, he'll be available via payphone up
Yes,
there,
because there's no cellular service there either. So
yeah, he'll be available via payphone if you need to contact him. Which, by the way, I saw a payphone the other day in San Francisco, and not San Francisco, in San Diego. I was in San Diego, and I was very confused. But that's a tangent. I digress. Anyway, that has been the latest edition of the Fore-All Podcast. Make sure to go check out foreall.com, FORE-ALL, for all of Max's articles coming up this weekend. And we will talk to you next week and recap the Kroger Queen City Championship presented by P&G.